St. Moritz in Switzerland, top of the world, the oldest and the only artificial track on the planet. It's the venue for round 7 of the BMW IBSF Women's Skeleton World Cup. Hello everybody, welcome to Sliding Paradise. I'm Martin Haven, alongside me John Morgan, with a fascinating battle in prospect for our second heat.
Highlights of the first run on this historic track, Tina Hermann. She's been coming on, second place last week in Altenburg, and this 2016 world champion. Looks like she's starting to get her form for PyeongChang. A little high in horseshoe, but on the bottom part of the track, good speeds, good slide, and she's in third place. Gonna try and chase down Elizabeth Vathje of Canada. She came 7th out of the blocks, which is not a favorable time, but big speed all the way down the track. And Vathje, who's got 3 silver medals this season, second World Cup points, puts herself in second place here in St. Moritz. Janine of Austria. She's won on this track before. She has more pressure on her than anybody in the field to produce. She won the opening event in Lake Placid. Since then, missed the cut a couple times. Without a good result, she might not qualify for the Olympic Games. A lot of pressure taken off her though in the first heat. She's the leader.
2 wins in the last 3 years for Janine. She's 0.02 of a second ahead of Elizabeth Vathje, who she beat in the 2014-15 season. Laura D's taking the bronze that year. Tina Hermann, silver medal 2 years ago, behind Janine Flock. And she's in third place, but her teammate is one of a very closely bunched group, snapping at her heels. Savannah Graybill of the USA, 20th in the first heat, by a few hundreds from Renata Kutzina, who misses the cut, along with everybody else down to Katie Tannenbaum, who was the first slider out of the shed. There's Tina Hermann, like everybody else, warming up in the car park of the Dracula Club. Elizabeth Vathje still struggling a little bit with the after effects of flu. And Jacqueline Lurling, the world champion, the points leader. This is perhaps her least efficient race on tour. She was 8th last year, 7th after the first heat. But Janine Flock knows how to win on this track. Marina Gilardoni starting to work herself back into fitness. The Swiss champion won that race here 2 weeks ago and the opening weekend of the track. Everybody making final adjustments to their sled. This is a track where the ice is very cold and very hard, but because it's a natural track, you tend to end up looking for more control than you might expect. So a sort of slower, a lighter rock on the sled to give the long corners plenty of control. 20 sleds go in the second heat. We go 20 down to 1, so Savannah Graybill goes off first. First heat leader Janine Flock goes off last. Both heats count. The total time added together decides your finishing position. And after 4 years building up to the PyeongChang Olympic Games, it all comes down potentially to 1 minute and 10 seconds or so on ice here for Janine Flock.
There's so many races within races here of people qualifying, trying to meet their country's Olympic standards. A lot of pressure on a lot of these athletes. Some of these athletes will not be going to PyeongChang as a result of their finish times today.
Savannah Graybill of the USA, 20th after the first heat, round 7 of the BMW IBSF Women's Skeleton World Cup, pushes away from the start blocks in historic St. Moritz to get the second heat underway.
Denver, Pennsylvania girl, look at that bump into the first curve. Field hockey player from American University. Oh, and that's not what you want to do in this long drop-off. You drop about 3 stories there, and it's so important to be so quiet on your sled into this wall section. Now the 2-corner combination they call the snake. The names on these curves have been around for over 100 years, some of them. Sunny curve. This is one of the most famous curves 100 years ago. Now the next up is this Nash-Dixon section. This is named after the 2 British guys who won the gold medal in bobsledding in '64. They're members of the St. Moritz Bobsleigh Club, so they gave them, put the names on the track on those curves. And Martin, the speed on the exit of Kreisel here is everything.
98.9 at 61.5 miles an hour, chin on the ice, and really accelerating hard now through these fast 4 right-handers that lead onto the bottom straight. The final one coming up here, the Gunter Sachs curve. She gets a good exit down the sliders right.
33.2, that's 82.8 miles an hour.
That's as quick as anybody went in the first heat.
Great speed, 1:10.72. So she's 3,200s better in the second round. But now as the sun comes up, track starts to be a little bit more favorable for quicker times. We see this on this natural track here in St. Moritz.
Yeah, traditionally overnight low is about -20 Celsius, warms up to about -10 in the day.
If there's anything Savannah can do is to improve her start time, to come out here and be where she was in the first run, 22nd best start time. It's pretty tough to overcome the deficiency, especially when you make mistakes like this. If you don't make mistakes like that, she probably had been 2 or 3 tenths better.
Well, she started 0.05 of a second faster than the girl who ended up 4th. And here is the girl who was the 2nd fastest starter in the field. If her first run had been 0.02 of a second slower, she'd have missed the cut. The junior world champion, Russia's Yulia Kanakina. Of all the tracks, this is the one where the start is the least important part. It's the drive.
Well, we're not sliding at 52 seconds. We're sliding at 110.
Yeah, 72
17 seconds later, you know. Start, well, great, 5:17. Heads up from the only athlete in the field who comes from ballerina.
Yeah.
How about that? But she's a great athlete. She does post great starts, diminutive in size, and on this track where I would think that's a disadvantage in the show, she had probably the 22nd best speeds on the bottom part of the track.
Out of sunny corner, 87 hundredths up on Savannah Grable. Yeah. When she's got the line out to sunny, she knows she's going to get into National Dixon. Up to horseshoe, how high does she get? Right up towards the woodwork. And then you drop down, really trying to accelerate hard off the bottom there.
Speed 98.1, that's a full, almost a full kilometer down, half a mile an hour down to Savannah Grable, so the time's going to come back.
Now, she's still 7 tenths up. Can she lose it all? She was only
she'll lose
200.
3 or 4 tenths. She'll get into probably in the 30s here, 52, 131.
Much
so
better slide from her.
And she's, you know, a full mile an hour down, so 25 or so, 35, 35, that's about right. Savannah waves on, and
well, 1:10.38 in the first heat would have left Kanakina in 8th place, not where she ended up in 19th. But the track is quicker.
Yeah.
And the fastest run was a 1:09.9. We might get down into single digits in 1:09s, maybe even 1:08s.
Now watch her head. Watch her head pop down. Watch her put her head down here. Look at look how low that head is. I mean, that's by design too. I mean, that's something the coaches ordered her to do.
Yeah, when you know the steer is right, then you put your head down, reduce your aerodynamic friction. Third of our starters, 18th in the first heat, Belgium's Kim Meilmans off the 12th fastest start. She didn't quite have the run she was looking for. Meilmans finished in 18th place last year, a 21-year-old Belgian. Looks like she has tied herself up with her first Olympic Games start.
12th best start in the first run, 5:37 here, 100th worse. But I didn't like her slide down the bottom part of the track.
I don't think she did either. 5th position, her best result this season. That was in Whistler, the fastest track on the planet, the 2010 Olympic venue. And her worst have been a pair of 12th positions in the season opener in Lake Placid and last time in Altenburg.
So 2200s, she'll start to attack that.
Which means the speed. Kanakina didn't have speed in the first heat out of horseshoe. It's a good line, another toe steer, the little
12, speed in the left, 98.4. That is better speed than
the Russian.
In fact, it's not as good as Savannah Grable.
No.
Down to 5, but here she comes. She's going to get on the bottom. Green numbers easy. She'll probably ease into the 82-mile-an-hour speeds, too.
Well, she was 12 hundredths ahead of Kanakina from the first heat.
132.4, 82.3 miles an hour. Savannah Grable had better speed, but this will be the leader. 110.32, same time that Kanakina just had, right?
No, 38 for Kanakina, but a little quicker.
Yeah.
But she holds on to her first round advantage, so she'll be no worse than last year's result of 18th. Can we just talk about the speed? 82.8 miles an hour with your chin literally bouncing off the ice. 82 miles an hour.
You got a problem with it?
It's just insane. They are absolutely mad. They are absolutely mad.
In Whistler, they're even quicker.
Yeah.
You know, but it's... she's the leader and on her way to representing Belgium at the Olympic Games. And this is horseshoe. This is where you're going to exit with a slingshot effect into the telephone curve. The reason it's a telephone curve, there used to be a telephone there 100 years ago to call back up to say, we've had a crash, don't let anybody go.
Yeah, we've crashed,
That's
come and get us.
Yeah.
Dig us out the snowbanks. So, Kim Marmans of Belgium is our race leader. Next up is the other Kim, Kimberly Bos of the Netherlands.
So we got 400ths of an advantage, and she didn't have a very good first run. She's had a pretty good season, a couple 7th place finishes.
Yeah, and she was 5th on this track last year. She was only 17th in the first heat.
And quiet up here, no drift. She drifted in the first heat. She hit, and just same thing in the second heat.
Ping, ping, ping.
3rd time. That's the 4th time. So she doubled the hits up there, and that's going to reflect down here because I think that's worth 1,500s up there at least.
She could drop to the tail of the field. She might end this heat in 20th place.
40 hundredths back. That 30 hundredths of that was right up there.
And the real pressure for her is she needs to earn good points to try and keep herself in the top 10 in the World Cup rankings.
Speed. Oh, she's going to get crushed here. 97.4
of a second
she's
behind.
A full mile an hour down to the best speed, which was Savannah Grable. And this is a very disappointing run for Kimberly Bos. I hope it doesn't affect the Dutch strict Olympic standards. They're demanding her being in the top 12 of the World Cup points, and this is not going to help her efforts.
She's had 2 top 7 finishes in the last 2 races, but this will not match the 5th place she earned last year.
She drops behind.
She's last in the field.
Oh, my.
And that's a 1:11.63 slide, a 1:11.03. She would not have made the cut if that was her first run. That's pressure.
That's the pressure. This could knock her back beyond the 12th, even though she's had 2 7th place finishes. Both heats, she did this. No one else in the field has hit once, maybe twice. She's hit 3 times, 4th time.
Looks like there's just not enough control in those runners. Well, it is what it is, and we'll have to wait and see what the Dutch NOS do. Yeah,
very deserving to go to the Olympic Games.
No question, she'll be a great representative for them. Well, next up, Kendall Westenberg. Mum is here watching trackside in St. Moritz as the former soccer player. 18th at the start, drove herself into 16th position during the run.
Silver medalist in this event last year, and we expected, wow, she's going to come out here and do it. Problems at the start in the first run, and that was not smooth into that flat part of the first curve.
A better start. It was a 5:44 in the first heat, 5:39 in the second, and every 100th helps, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, 8th place finish in Innsbruck, which is a track that's short, 1,250 meters, and the start is such an important aspect of success. She doesn't have a good start. She finished 8th, so we expected her to come out here and do what she did last year, which was have the 2nd best time of the final run and moved into the silver medal position.
Since we came to Europe, she's missed the cut 2 of 3 races. So this is another step up for her. She's got a lead, and she's trying to hang on to it.
Speed is pretty good compared to the other sleds. 1,700. She's pulling away now. This will be the leader, but she wants to move up. She, her parents are here. Her best ever, or only ever World Cup medal was on this track last year. She had big aspirations to maybe challenge for a podium again.
Decent speed at the bottom, 132. We'll probably see 134s.
10:25. Kim Marmans looks on, and then that's 4,500s better, 4,400s better.
1:10.25 would have been 4th in the first heat. That's how much quicker she's gone. A lot of that is from the speed in the track now. As the frost comes off it and gets polished off by the runners, then it gets less friction and a little quicker.
She could walk away. That was a better run. Better start. And the horseshoe, that's a medium-high line. You want to dive out and then watch the exit here. You want to slingshot yourself onto the bottom part of the track. Good. Look at her feet. Look at her head steer. Then into telephone. And then down into Shamrock and all the rest of the curves that have been around for 100 years plus.
Top of the track now as Kendall Westenberg is our race leader, for Canada's Jane Channel. And this is not a track that is normally favoured the girl from North Vancouver, but she was 9th last year, 15th in the first heat this morning. Good
starter, great athlete here, 5:22. Second place position was her best of the season in Whistler, her home track. She's from North Vancouver. But Martin, as we discussed in the first heat, we saw her in the hotel last night. She was not a happy camper. She has not figured out the track yet.
Lots of people are happy to leave Altenberg in their rearview mirror. Jane Channel, I think, feels the same about Sam Moritz. She and the track are not yet on speaking terms.
4/10 doesn't sound, that's a lot on most tracks, but not here. She's on the wrong side of the curve.
Well, when you come out of Horseshoe, you've still got pretty much a whole Eagles track left in front of you.
Speed's not bad, it's not the best, but she's got a lot of time in the bank.
Third fastest starter in the field.
Now she's going to have to be clean down here in this long straightaway out of Gunter Sachs. Coming up right here, this is the high-speed part of the track. She drifts down to 22, 131.1. Should be the leader, should be like single digits.
Speed not great into the final two corners.
There it is, the single
300ths of a second.
You can read that, those speeds, and understand how much they're going to lose.
Exact same time for the run as Kendall Westenberg, and so she had an advantage of 300s from the first heat, and that's what her accumulated lead is.
She will go to the Olympic Games. You know, she's with the Canadians, are the top, one of the top 2 countries in points.
Yeah, they are.
This is a great athlete. Watch her entry under the sleds. One of the top 3 every week at the start. And look at the eyes, just trying to stay quiet up here in that long wall corner. One of the longest straightaways. It is the longest straightaway of any place on the planet in the sliding sports.
The 3 Canadian girls are all in the top 7 in the point standings, so they are the first nation to earn 3 spots for the Games. Next up is Switzerland's Marina Gilardoni. At the moment, she's on the outside of the candy store looking in. A big result here could help get her into the equation. 4th fastest starter in the first heat, but a 10th away from where she probably would have been a couple of seasons ago.
Yeah, she was winning medals on a regular basis a few years ago. This former bobsled brakeman, and who's one of the best starters. She used to be till she got injured last year.
Watch the runners, look at that, straight down the track towards wall.
Yeah, but I'm noticing her little chin strap is waving again like the first heat, and that's a no-no. That's a 100th of a second someplace. And 100ths of seconds on this track at this 7th World Cup of 8, the last event that they use for points for Olympic qualifying standards. Every 100th counts.
Down the straight, the road alongside to the bar at Horseshoe, high, and dives up beautifully into telephone.
Speed 61.2. 4th best of the
98.5's not great, is it? You want 99. We'll probably see triple digits.
She's coming back. She did well the first heat of the bottom part of the track.
Yeah.
Now she's going to need some kind of magic. 82.9. This is 131.7. That's not it. Second. This looks like second place.
She's going to slip behind Jane Channel. Channel moves up 200ths of a second in it. 110.30 the slide. 500 slower than Jane Channel. She only had 300s in hand. Remember that tight group of athletes from 4th on down? We're in that now.
Yeah. The rules are the top 2 nations get 3 sleds, then the next 4 nations get 2 sleds, and then there's the single nation qualifying. Australia gets 1 for the Pacific Rim, Africa gets 1, the host nation gets 1, so there's 3 nations. She's like the 21st slider. Only 20 athletes go to the Games.
Last year's race winner, not by 100th, but by 1.6 seconds, 1.8 seconds, Mimi Reneva of Canada. 13th after the first heat here today.
This is another great athlete in the field who she'd be up in the top 4 or 5, but she crushed the lip in Horseshoe in the first run. It was like, wow. Look at the start, 5:28, speed, the velocity. Check out that velocity, 48 kilometers an hour. She's still a little bit behind Kanakina, the Russian, who had the best velocity after the first curve. But if she gets through Horseshoe clean, she could move up 4 or 5 spots. Quarter of a second lead, that'll go out even more.
She just ran away last year, and it was the perfect combination of the start, the slide, the equipment, the runners, the rock, everything being perfect for the day. 3700s. Now she's going to start at 99.5.
Best speed we've seen of anybody by a lot. So she's going to run away. This could be a run where she could move up 5-6 places. She won this event, her first ever medal last year, gold medal on this track by over a second. Speed on the bottom, 83.5 miles an hour. The chin inches off the ice. Mimi Rivera track record.
There we go.
There'll be a few other track records.
Yeah.
She just went 1 full second and 2200ths better. Everybody else is going 3500ths better. She went a second, 0.32 better. That tells you she lost a full second in horseshoe last.
That is run. 0.6 of a second faster than Janine Flock went in the first heat. 0.6 of a second faster. So if
she's limping. She's limping here.
Yeah.
No, maybe just
getting out of the foam, I think.
Yeah. Look at that. She hit the lip last time. Look at the form. Look at watch her head. It just tilts her head a little bit to get off the curve and into telephone and shamrock. She's a lot happier with that run.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh.
Well, she better get a warm jacket on because she won't be in the sunshine, but she will be in the leaders box for some while. Next up, Yulia of the Netherlands had 0.04 of a second in hand. She's got to find, well, 1.4 seconds basically to stay in the lead over Mimi Reniva.
And she's going to give up an enormous amount of time right here at the start. 28 for Mimi Reniva, and this is a 43, so there's 1500ths right there. 47.2, that's almost a half a mile an hour down in velocity, but she's very quiet and clean here in that long wall section.
She's got plenty of experience. Yulia has not yet been an Olympian for the Dutch because their national Olympic standards are so much more strenuous than pretty much anybody else's.
They set them like the speed skaters.
Yeah.
The speed skaters are the best in the world, but you know, this girl deserves to go to the Olympic Games in 2014. They didn't send her here. You know, unless she does some kind of magical element down here, and there's a little sympathy in the Dutch Olympic Committee.
Well, she's top 20 in the world, and yet she can't go in the top 20 athletes going to the games. Now, you know, how does that work?
Not fair.
Yeah. It's a little harsh, isn't it?
Very harsh.
Down the straightaway, 133.7, good speed. She's going to be some way behind Mimi Reniva.
Maybe second. This is a good run.
She'll be second at the line.
Great.
And so you take Mimi out, she's actually pulled away from Jane Channel.
I mean, she just beat a number of athletes who would be in the Olympic Games.
That was a quarter second faster than Jane Channel went. So she moves up into second place with a 1:10.0.
She's 5,300ths better in that run, so that was an awesome run for Yulia LeConte.
That time in the first heat, she'd have been third. Again, track is probably a good half second, 0.6 quicker.
Diving out of horseshoe. This is the slingshot effect, so she goes high. Watch her head. Yeah. Head's right down on the ice. Feet aren't together.
No
That's
correction.
Technique. No. Right into telephone, slingshot onto the fastest track.
It's a really good line through horseshoe. Well, next up for Great Britain is Madeline Smith, one of the youngest athletes in the field. She's 21 years old.
And pretty much the body frame of her Olympic champion teammate, Lizzie Arnold.
Yep.
The silver medalist from the last Olympics, Noelle Pikus Pace. And Jacqueline Lolling, our World Cup leader. All of the same body type.
22 years old, Madeline, in fact. She started sliding just over 3 years ago, not in the World Cup, I mean, ever. 5:38 the start.
She did pretty good in the bottom part of the track in the first run for, I would say, probably the least experienced athlete in the field.
Boyfriend Ollie Biddulph is a British bobsledder. It's his birthday today, so she wanted to say hello to him. Job done. I said, okay, I've done that. Now you just go out and get yourself a medal. Might have been a tough ask from 11th.
Well, that's relative to the start. She got beat by a 10th.
3200s back at the moment behind Mimi Reniva, but then a lot of people are going to be behind Mimi Reniva. There's a nice line out of horseshoe.
99 flat would be good. 99.1, that's decent.
Third on the splits.
Don't know if she's going to maintain her the lead, but it could keep her in second.
That is, yeah, second fastest. I don't think she's going to stay in front of Mimi, who was only, what, 700s back and went 1.1 seconds quicker.
Mimi had a little issue with the lip and horseshoe in the first run.
Good looking run from Madeline Smith.
It's excellent, you know, 82.54 miles an hour.
And this is going to leave her in second or third behind Yulia LeConte.
So Yulia LeConte does not lose her place.
Nevertheless, Madeline Smith will be guaranteed at least a top 12 finish in her second World Cup start.
Yeah, that's
You
decent.
can't argue with that, can you? No. 3 years on a sled.
3 years.
Another one of Woody's wonders.
I don't like the way her hand is coming in. The hand should be like a sprinter, going straight up and down. And we'll see that in a couple of the athletes coming up. But of course, 3 years in the sport, technique. A little drift up there on the wall curve.
Okay, in the next quad, she is going to be looking to be a top runner for Great Britain. So half our field are down. Mimi Reneva of Canada, last year's race winner, is at the head of the queue, ahead of Yulia LeConte and Madeline Smith. Fastest 10 women from the first heat still to come.
How's the pictures?
Well, you know, it's, yeah. Seen one fabulous, jaw-dropping alpine view from St. Moritz. There's another one around the corner. Wherever you look around here, it is just staggeringly beautiful.
Stunning. I mean, it's just, you just can't. There's the Cresta track is down here, too. I mean, the buildings are 100 years old. Yep. The community promotes its 28 and 48 Winter Olympic Games hosting.
There's your race leader, Mimi Reneva, in the sunshine. And that's one of the things, you know, it can be -10 out, but if you're in the sun, it feels like +20. Katie Eulander in the changing room, getting ready to go. And there's the famous Dracula Club. Gunter Sachs, after whom the fastest right-hander on the course is named, industrialist and playboy of the 1970s
married
and 80s.
To Brigitte Bardot.
Among others. Both that he was married to and that Brigitte was married to.
He was part of the St. Moritz Bobsleigh Club.
Yeah, and he founded the Dracula Club, built the Start House and all of that. And in fact, his son now owns the building that had the big ice sheet outside of it, the Olympia Stadion from the 1928 and 48 games that had the big ice sheet for the curling and the speed skating. Yeah, fabulous.
It's fabulous. And his son Ralph, he slides the monobobs, and he's in the historical race, and he's around. Mimi, go out in the sun.
Yeah, well, you know, Hester's corralling her back into the leader's box. There is the balcony outside the Dracula Club, looking down over the sled area. And again, you'll see...
Not a more beautiful place on the planet to watch a sliding sport. Big screen in front of you. The award ceremonies are up there.
So Kendall Westenberg's mum up there, enjoying the sunshine, with her daughter, who finished in the medals here last year, currently lying in 6th spot. It's another beautiful day in Sliders Paradise as we get ready for our final 10 sleds. St. Moritz in Switzerland, round 7 of the BMW IBSF Women's Skeleton World Cup. 10th place after the first heat, a former race winner on this track, the USA's Katie Eulander. Current leader is Mimi Reneva of Canada, last year's winner.
Bump. 9th best start, 5:42, which she had a 5:43 in the first run. She improved. Look how quiet. I mean, she's got probably in the top 3 for experience on the track. She's been on the track for almost a decade. Did she win the World Championships here in 2012?
No, that 13. That was Shelley.
Shelley won, yeah. But she medaled.
Now, she was 1400ths ahead of Mimi Reneva from the first heat, and Mimi went better than 1.4 seconds
real low
quicker.
Line. Again, she's 4/10 back. Her coach, Zach Lund, said she was going to be aggressive in the horseshoe, but she wasn't in the first run nor the second run. Medium low line, one of the lowest lines we've seen.
Decent speed, 99.2 is 61.5 miles an hour.
She'll lead into that 45, but I don't know how much she's going to get back because Mimi Rivera had rockets on down here.
133.8 is very good speed, 83.1 miles an hour.
She's a half a kilometer down, but still one of the better speeds, and she gets, 3rd best time of the run. Duffy Latour looks on, so Katie Eulander, who was here all week last week too, second in one of the ICC races.
3600s quicker than her first heat, but again, much of that will have come from the track improvements.
Mimi Rivera won a second 3000s better because she also collided with the lip here in Horseshoe. Look how low Katie is here. The high lines, that's the lowest line we're going to see of anybody in the next 8 or 9 sleds. And I question that, but that could be her choice.
So Katie Eulander slips into second, 9 to go. Mimi Reniva leads. And 9th after the first heat, Jacqueline Narracott of Australia. Now she's the top-ranked slider from the nations in the Pacific Rim group. And of course, as the host nation, Korea get a guaranteed spot in every discipline. Jackie has earned herself a place.
She's never been better than a 15th that she had in Park City, Utah earlier this year. This would be some personal best for this Queensland slider.
Well, we talked to her a couple of days ago, didn't we? And she was just feeling no pain at all, loving this track.
Look how great the lines are. And started off as a bobsledder, like a number of athletes in the field. In fact, her cousin Paul was a 1992 Olympian for Australia, bobsledding.
Now she's going to be doing really well to stay in front of Mimi Reniva because Reniva had such a scorching second heat. She shouldn't have been way back where she was, but a top 10 result for Jackie Narracott here would just really send her into the final World Cup race in Koenigsegg next week with such a head of steam. Second place.
Good. She's only 2/10 of a kilometer. 99, top 4 speed. I don't think she's going to catch Mimi, but for her to stay in her position, this will be her personal best. And when you have personal bests, when you come out to a bobber or a skeleton track, that's all you want to achieve. Speeds 133.7, 83 miles an hour flat.
Speed.
This should be second. This is a personal best for Jacqueline Narracott.
That is a great run. A great run for the Aussie. Well, we talked about the Australian program and how many good sliders they have supported. Emily Smith, Michelle Steele, Jacqueline Narracott, Melissa Hoare, and Lucy Chaffer, who's here coaching as well.
Yeah. Come on, it's your personal best.
Yeah, well, but she's dropped a spot, you know.
Come on,
however, she's not going to be the only one. And she's in this really close group where 2 or 300s is going to gain you or lose you a place. She could still move up. And a top 10 finish.
First ever.
Yeah, there you go. There's the smile. Come on.
Top 10 finish for Australia in a number of years.
Next up, Laura Dees of Great Britain was 0.02 of a second in front of Jackie Narracott. So again, you know, this is a really tight battle. To stay in front of Mimi Reniva is going to be tough, but she wants to try and stay at least second if she can't get in front of the Canadian. Very quick starter, 5th fastest in the field in the first heat, 5.30. 5.29, goes a fraction quicker.
She's had 2 5th-place finishes in North America, Lake Placid and Park City. She's 5th in World Cup points. And
bronze medalist here 3 years ago.
And her sporting background, I always like to say this, equestrian.
Yeah.
Never was in a gym in her life until she started going down these icy chutes. 700s back, good speed here on the bottom. Well, she's going to need it because Mimi Rivera had rockets on.
She's going to need 99s as she gets into Shamrock and Devil's Dyke. Let's see where the speed is. Nice controlled line.
98.3, that's not very good. That might keep her in the second position, which means that Mimi Rivera will pick off someone else. She's moved up almost 5 spots.
I think Mimi could easily be top 5 or 6 here, but will Laura Dees be in second or third at the line? 132, that's decent, but I think
drop a spot, 2 spots.
Jackie Narracott moves up as she is 5th at the line. Oh, so she slips behind Katie Eulander and Joska LeConte, so she is just in front of teammate Madeline Smith. They are 5th and 6th. Okay, well, that's not the second run that she wanted or needed.
No speed in the Exeter Horseshoe. That was the key.
She was looking good right up until Sachs. And another
look at her hands.
starter.
Nice hands, nice the way she, track and field technique to sprint, to jump on the sled, hit the bump.
That's from all those years vaulting onto a pony in Pony Club.
Yes.
Except there you vault up, here you vault down. All right, so Laura Dees slips down to 5th position. Mimi Reniva leads from Jackie Narracott with 7 to go. Here's our world champion, World Cup champion, the woman who's won every title in the last couple of seasons, just about, and who has won 3 races in the last 4. But last year only 8th. She's 7th after the first heat, and with the rise of Reniva, she'll be doing well to hang on to that spot.
Now, she gives away a lot at the start. She's got one of those bigger frames that we talk about her. Lizzie Arnold, who's coming up, the Olympic champion, then Noelle Pikus-Pace, who was silver medal at the last Olympics.
5:53 start is the least important part of this track. It's how she can drive it.
Madeline Smith, the same size as Jacqueline Lowling, too, but Jacqueline Lowling won the pre-Olympic test in PyeongChang last year, along with winning the World Cup title, along with winning the World Championship title.
Yep.
And this year she's on point. She's got a number of victories. But Martin, this is not her style, this track.
No. Well, last year 8th. If she finishes 8th here again, she'll just go, yeah, whatever, and move on.
Speed, she'll press 100.5.
Well, there you go.
No one has achieved that in either heat yet. But she's so far back. I can't believe she's going to catch half a second.
Well, she's
down to
come,
35.
Yeah, she's come from 45 to 35. Next talk, it'll be 15. What speed will she have out of Sachs? Oh, just avoids the wall.
135.5 speed, 84.2 miles an hour. Best speed we've seen. She's going to run out of track. Second.
Oh, by 1900. All right, so she squeezed it. Well, she doesn't squeeze. She's a long way in front of Jackie Narracott in second. But again,
she got beat by 2500s at the start.
No worse than 8th. 2500s at the start and 1900s at the bottom. So she
1500s in 2 heats at the start. Yeah. And she loses by 1900s. That tells you how good of a glider this athlete is here.
She feels the ice.
Look how tall she is, too.
Yeah. And young, 22 still.
Little drift down here in the speed part of the trap. And look at the form. No one's got 84-mile-an-hour speeds, but of course, this is the world champion, the World Cup champion, the athlete who won the PyeongChang pre-Olympic test.
She may never win on this track, but she can win pretty much anywhere else. Lizzie Arnold has won on this track. Her win came in the 11-12 season, and she was the silver medalist behind Noelle Pikus-Pace 2 years later. Struggling to recapture that pre-Olympic form that got her the gold medal in Sochi.
Yeah, she started off with that bronze medal. We talked about that, and it's great. But since then, she's been all over the place, including missing the cut once at least. So this is the Olympic champion. You know, as you get, in December, November, December, when the competition starts in Olympic year, you can sort of just say, I want to peak in February. Well, you should be peaking now. This is January, and I have not seen the results out of Lizzie Arnold that we expect.
Well, let's see what speed she's got here. We saw 100.5 kilometers an hour into Devil's Dyke. What's she got? 99?
No, she's 2 kilometers down to Jacqueline Lowling. And also, Mimi Rivera. She's about equal. Oh, she's 3/10 down now. I can't see her getting that back. She could fall back behind Lowling.
Well, she was only 100th in front of Jacqueline Lowling from the first heat.
Speed way off the pace.
She's going to drop behind Jackie Narracott of Australia. Narracott is going to move up.
6th best time of the run. Mimi Rivera, Mimi, you got to start getting happy. You've moved up 6 spots.
Yeah, I think she's feeling a little kind of embarrassed by picking everybody off, but...
Well, she shouldn't have been here in the first place. She crushed the lip in horseshoe.
Probably not as embarrassed as she was after her first heat. Well, Lizzie Arnold...
So the Olympic champion, I don't know if we'll see her next weekend at the World Cup final. A lot of the athletes rest, but look at the drifts here. Her foot was out. She comes left to right. 8th or 9th best speed there. That's the way I think the Olympic champion wants to go into the PyeongChang Olympics.
Mimi Reniva leads from Jacqueline Lowling and Jackie Narracott. 5 to go. Elena Nikitina of Russia currently lies in 4th place in the World Cup rankings. She's done 5 of the 6 races, and she's had 2 wins, a bronze, a 4th and a 5th. So this is her equal worst performance of the season. She's 5th after the first heat, but she set the start record.
And she'll probably do it again. This little...
She'll be quicker. And goes the other at 5:07, so 700's quicker.
Unbelievable.
She is.
That's not good there. She steered around that curve, and this is where you have to be quiet. And you know, she's got a huge lead because of the start. She's got a huge lead from the first heat over Mimi Rivera, but you know, the Russian sleds just don't seem to fly on this track.
No, she's a proper pocket rocket, but 4,600s at the start.
Now it's
It's only 24 at Sunny. That's it. She's buried.
It's going to be very easy. If she doesn't have 99-kilometer speed here, she's not going to match Mimi Rivera at the bottom, down to 98.8. That's close. It'll be red numbers here pretty quick.
Yeah. Well, she's just not got the speed. She went off like she was fired out of a cannon, and she is just going to sink like a stone. Now, because there's...
How far is she going to fall?
Yeah. 1900s back to Lurling, 4600s back to Narracott.
There, speed 132.6, 82.4. This should be good enough for second.
I'm not sure. Jacqueline Lurling is second, and she's third. 109.89. It's still faster than anyone went in the first heat, but it's not fast enough.
Yeah, she just went 4,300ths better and fell 2 spots.
She went 5,400ths slower than Reniva on this run alone.
Reniva, it just moved up 7 spots. Look at the start. Look at the hand. Look how quick that motion is with the hand. Arm pumping like that. You know, she is...
But look at all the steering, the ping, ping, ping. Who did we see pinballing all their way down the walls? Well,
all the way down, and that's
as uncomfortable a ride as Kimberly Boss, and that skid as well.
Yeah, so she didn't have a good control of the sled. She's looking at herself.
Yikes. Anna Fernstedt of Germany claimed her first medal of the season, the second of her career last week as Germany swept the podium 1-2-3 in Altenburg. She's about 900s out of the medals, but she could feature.
57 start in the first run. That's a half-second slower than Nikitina, who just came down. 54, it's a better start. Let's see if she stays quiet here in wall. Look at this.
Look at the form. And again, you know,
this is
21 years old, the Bavarian. Like Lurling, she's got so much promise.
Marion Thies was the first German we saw with not very good start times, but a world championship slider in her own right in 2011.
But never got a medal here.
Never.
The more aggressive drivers have done. Tina Hermann is a bit more of a glider. Katrina Heinz, Anja Huber, Kirsten Simkoviak, they were more aggressive drivers, and
speed could be 100-kilometer speed. 100.9. That is fastest the best speed we've seen. Now she's going to have to eat into this. She's way back, 37 to 25. If she gets some kind of ridiculous speed, she had the best speed in the first heat.
Top speed so far, 135.5, and she's 135.9.
Nobody close.
Is it enough? Can she finally break Reniva's hold in the leader's box? No.
Look at Mimi. She would have been the leader in the first heat if she did not hit the lip in the first heat in Horseshoe.
She would have doubled up.
She won last year's event by a second. So
Fernstedt in second. She'll take that on this track.
Yeah, it's a good run for her.
Yeah, no question. She will definitely take that.
She's happy with that. The best German slider of the... No, she's not the best. There's one more coming.
11th last year. She'll be no worse than 5th. Halving the deficit. Yeah, take that. Look at that. Look how happy she is with that run.
She's always happy. This is the exit of Horseshoe. This is the person with the best speed. Look at the feet. Look at the head. Look at her just drift that head a little bit to the left to come off. Just slingshot out of the bottom with the best speeds by far.
Big hug from Jacqueline. Don't forget, coaches pushed her out of the team at the beginning of the season because of her start, and she just drove her way back in with results. They couldn't argue. She became the 3rd-ranked German. Now, here's the top German on this track, Tina Hermann. She has had medals, silver in the Europeans here 2 years ago. Behind Janine Flock.
That's one on when she was on to her World Cup title for the season, the World Championship title. She's the better starter of the 3, 5:37. See how quiet she can be. She's not, you know, their head's going left to right. you don't think anything, but a little left and right deals with friction and hundreds here, hundreds there. And
you're on that straight, it's like you're on a balancing board. You're desperately just trying to keep everything in.
Oh, she's back 700s to Rivera there. That's not a good sign for the Germans. Sun's coming out on the track.
Getting quicker and quicker.
Gonna need near that 99 high speed here.
She's not gonna get it. She's behind.
High speed. She's got that. She did well in the first run on the bottom part of the track.
Not enough.
Only 5. I think she's got a chance. She can match the big speed in the bottom. She can finally catch the Canadian.
This is for a medal. Last year's race winner, Mimi Reniva, was 13th off the first heat. Are they going to tie? Is it going to be Herman in the medals or Reniva? It's Herman.
So finally, great run for Mimi Rivera. But hey, you see why this young athlete here, who's the second German, she was the best top German 2 years ago, and Loling has replaced her, and she is only medaled twice this
Her run,
season.
John, 109.65. Fernstedt before her, 109.65. The two Germans inseparable on the second side.
Form. I mean, perfect bullet form here. Look at the crossover. Huge speed on the exit, huge speed in the bottom, and Tina, you got something to be happy about.
Top 3 covered by 900ths of a second now. Tina Herman, Mimi Reniva, and Anna Fernstedt. 2 to go. 1 Canadian, 1 Austrian. So we could have 3 different nations on the podium here. Let's see what Elizabeth Vathje can produce. Now, she was 200ths of a second off the lead in the first heat. She came 7 sliders before the first round leader, Janine Flock, so she had a track disadvantage. Can she win her first race of the season here?
She's got a lot of seconds. She's second in World Cup points. And Martin, she's going to be your broadcast partner this afternoon for men's skeleton.
Big slide into the first turn. We're talking a couple of hundreds.
47.5, that's not very good speed. She's almost 7/10 of a kilometer down to Kanakina, but Kanakina was 2/10 better at the start. But we know that Elizabeth Vathje is a glider.
3300's the advantage when she lay down, 2200's at Sunny. Now don't forget that Tina Herman came from behind to take the lead at this stage. Good run down into Horseshoe.
She almost touched the lip. Needs high 99 speed. 99.7, that's right on the margin. This could go either way. She's got 2/10. But this is where she accelerated in the first run. Down to 16.
It's going to be very, very close with Tina Herman. Mimi Reniva, her teammate, is second, just 600ths back.
Fernstedt third. Right to the 100th.
Okay.
I don't know.
133.8. It could be very tight indeed with Tina Herman. Oh, she's second.
So Tina Herman moves up, and Elizabeth didn't have a clean run at this curve 1, but she's guaranteed a medal.
Yep.
Guaranteed a bronze medal. That'll leave her second in World Cup points.
Guaranteed at least a silver at the moment. Mimi in the bronze. Anna Fernstedt is out of the medals in 4th at the moment.
That little drift in the long straightaway and out of Gunter Sachs in the speed part of the track didn't help her. The start here, let's watch the bump.
It's the first corner dink. Look, she's already tilting ahead, ready for it.
Way off, and then she goes into that straight wall. That cost her 2/10. See, she hit twice there too.
Ooh.
So this was not a perfect
your win gone
run.
away.
Well, you can talk to her about it this afternoon when she's doing commentary.
Nevertheless, top 3 guaranteed. Now for victory, Janine Flock, race winner twice in the last 3 years and the bronze medalist last year. So she has not been off the podium since before the last Winter Olympics.
Well, she's had an up and down season, and had last week, after finishing 20th in Altenburg, there was a chance, rumors that in the media, that she might not qualify for the Olympic standard if she doesn't have a good result here in St. Moritz.
Decent speed.
So what does she do come out in the first heat? Post the best time. So there's a lot of Olympic pressure on this athlete who won the opening World Cup race of the year in Lake Placid, but since then, missed a couple cuts, and Martin, she's been pretty perplexing her results.
Look at the gap, out to 4300ths over Tina Herman.
This is an Olympic ride for Janine
Yes.
Flock.
This is all the vindication she needs after crashing in the second run in Altenburg. 100.0, that's second fastest, third fastest speed we've seen, and that is comfortably quicker than Tina Hermann. But she does need...
Now she's pulling away.
She needs 135 at the bottom.
She could have 134. Oh, skid there.
Whoop. Skid into Sachs, but she corrects it. 134, that's enough. She's going to win by a big margin.
What a sigh of relief for Austria.
Victory for the third time in 4 years for Janine Flock of Austria. 109.5, not the fastest slide of the day, but it doesn't matter. The total time is enough to win it.
Wow, Martin, earlier in the week, all we could say is Janine Flock might not make the Olympics because of the qualification standards. And look at her.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah.
No one had more pressure on him.
Well,
this field than this.
From the depths of despair, crashing off the sled in Altenburg and dropping to 20th.
Not making the cut in Park City, the second race, after she won the opening race in Lake Placid.
Well, her second win of the season is the last one that counts for Olympic qualification. Janine Flock, what a time to produce another roaring win. 3 times in 4 years. Yeah, I think that is her dad. Wow. Yeah. Oh, yes. A huge outpouring of relief, I'm sure, from the family. You know, there's Tina Hermann, silver medal, as she was 2 years ago when Janine last won. And Janine now 3 wins in 4 seasons on this track.
Well, perfect bullet lines. You know, one of the better starts.
She wouldn't be the only person that wished we had an Olympic Games on this track coming up. I think everybody on the planet loves that, apart from maybe a handful of sliders.
Well, I feel much better about the Olympic selection process because the process is designed to get as many countries in the field, but it almost eliminated one of the top competitors right there.
Janine Flock victorious from Tina Hermann, as she was 2 years ago. Elizabeth Vathje completes the podium ahead of the remarkably resurgent Mimi Reneva.
She would have won the race if she didn't hit the lip.
Jackie Narracott, 8th place, comfortably her best ever World Cup result, ahead of the Olympic champion Katie Uenda, 10th place here for her, and that's good news. Laura Dees, Madeline Smith, Jane Channel in that really tight group, just ahead of Marina Gilardoni, who took the bronze medal here 2 years ago. Well, whatever she was thinking in Altenburg, I think Janine Flock is in a very different state of mind right now. The Austrian has done everything she can do, and I think that should be enough to get her into the Olympic Games for her country, and that would be...
Well, there's 2. She's a multiple winner now in the World Cup Tour.
Multiple race winner. She's a European champion. She's a World Cup points champion. She's won the Crystal Globe. So, you know, she hasn't won the World Championship title, but to think that somebody of that caliber might have missed out because of a tiny field for women's skeleton and some antediluvian kind of gatherings of nations. You know, if you're the single slider in a nation, it's tough enough because you've got no teammate, you've got very little, you know, knowledge to bat back and forth. And then you get outscored by sliders who are way behind you, but are in a nation of 2 or 3 sliders, and so...
Yeah, she's the only Austrian slider, which was her disadvantage. Also, there'd be no question. If there was a second Austrian in the field, she'd have been up there relaxing, no problem.
Well, that and a disaster in Altenburg and an utter disaster in Park City were, you know, real low points. 20th and 22nd in those 2 races. But she started the season with victory in Lake Placid, and she ends the Olympic qualifying run with victory in St. Moritz. Bronze medal for Elizabeth Vathje, so she'll be happy with that. She'll still be fizzing when she comes in to do the men's race later, so she can tell us exactly where the pitfalls are on this track this season. And as you said, it's handcrafted every year down the same path through the woods, and some of the walls, the one in Sunny, the one in Horseshoe, exist as stone walls during the winter, during the summer, but the rest of it is hand-built, and as every hand-built product is marginally different every time. Race 7 of the BMW IBSF Women's Skeleton World Cup sees Jacqueline Lurling retain her points lead ahead of Elizabeth Vathje and Tina Hermann, who are both on the podium in St. Moritz. And Janine Flock moves up into 8th position now. She started the day in 10th in the World Cup standings as she claims victory. Top 10 spot for Lizzie Arnold, the Olympic champion. She moves up from 12th position in the World Cup standings after another top 10 run from her. But it was all about Janine Flock, the 3rd win in 4 seasons on this track. She has had such great form here since the run into the last Winter Olympic Games.
But she needed it, Martin.
Yes, she did. She dug deep and pulled out a big result just when it was required. So Janine Flock of Austria claims her 2nd win of the season and puts the horror story that was Altenburg firmly in her rearview mirror. So big smile podium finishes. Tina Hermann took the silver here 2 years ago when the World Cup race here was also the European Championships. She was the silver medalist behind Janine. And mum champagne for our top 3. The champagne of sports here at the greatest ice track on the planet. St. Moritz, the legendary 1928 and 1948 winter venue. And that gets our weekend underway for action here. We've got men's skeleton coming up this afternoon. Join us for that first sled on ice at 1300 local, and that is 12 GMT. We'll see you then. Bye for now.